Patent and Trade Office. Cody Rhodes filed for the rights to his father's name back in March. In May, he was told he had 6 months to file amended documents clarifying a few points. The trademark is now listed as live under Cody's real name, so it would appear he got that done. As we previously reported, AEW is reviving Bash at the Beach, which we kind of reported that earlier too, for an upcoming episode of Dynamite. That's not the only WCW or Dusty Rhodes related trademark Cody is listing as owning. However, the United States Patent Office website shows he has a live trademark on Battle Bowl, which would be cool as fuck to see again, Bunkhouse Stampede, the match beyond, which, for those unaware, War Games was originally referred to as the match beyond. But still, and I don't have the other article, but this is because this was just kind of brand new, but we still don't know how this is all going down with the United States Patent Office, because there is, rumor and innuendo that it was denied. So, and see, but like I said, he's already advertising for all this, so I don't see how it could have been denied if he's still being allowed to advertise all this, and we're not hearing anything about WWE suing, because I haven't heard anything about that. But I did hear that Cody was on Twitter, and he's like, "All right, looks like we're about time to go to court again." And they had a picture up on Twitter that said pettiness. So I don't know if WWE has contacted him and getting ready to sue, or he's about to get ready to sue about stuff. I don't really know. We'll have to definitely keep you guys informed and updated. And I will. I will. Next up, Earl Hebner is a legend among professional wrestling referees. He worked for WWE from 1988 until 2005, but now he works for All Elite Wrestling. In a recent appearance on the Winkley podcast, Hebner didn't mince words in talking about the difference between the two companies. Asked to compare WWE and AEW, Earl had this to say: "It doesn't feel like you're in prison here. You've got more leeway, and it's more relaxing. It felt like you were a prisoner in WWE, but not in AEW. This is just more laid-back company at my age. This is great for me." Hebner did look back at his time in WWE to pick out his highlights of his work there. The first one he mentioned was a 1988 Saturday Night Main Event in which he took a storyline bribe from Ted DiBiase to screw over Hogan. He also mentioned the Montreal Screwjob, which he says made a name for him despite the decades-long controversy around it. The interview asked him for a take on a more recent controversial ref call, the finish of the Universal Championship match between Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt at Hell in a Cell. But Hebner only answered that question matter-of-factly, and he said, and I quote, "I don't watch their product." Whatever your take on Earl Hebner and his opinions, it's good to see a veteran worker land somewhere where they're happy. And that's a good point. Because I don't know, I've never been a huge fan of Earl, and it's nothing personal. I don't know the guy, so I mean I can't. But I feel like he really should have stepped up and stood up for Brett during the Montreal Screwjob. And I mean, he probably had his job, and he had probably kids to feed and shit like that. But damn, man, right's right, wrong's wrong. And they definitely screwed Brett over and all that. And we're not going to get down that rabbit hole. We'll have to sit down and get a couple people together and get a panel going about the Montreal Screwjob and see what us fans really think about it, because we hear about it all the time from different wrestlers and referees and creative and everybody that was involved, but you don't hear a lot of how fans actually feel about the Montreal Screwjob. So we'll have to do that sometime. But yeah, Earl Hebner felt like he was in prison in WWE. Now he doesn't, which is good. I'm happy for him. Oh no. So one of the next ones, oh God, Big J says the screw job was planned by Brett. he's trying to say shit, man, I'll tell you what. So, okay, this is one of the bigger things I wanted to talk about tonight. And I've actually got some quotes from fans. Alright. So this past week, Tessa Blanchard won I think it was like a battle royal for the opportunity to go after the World Heavyweight Championship. Not the women's, I mean the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. And so, and so, uh, people are obviously coming out the woodwork to discuss this. I mean, I've seen debates all over forums and Twitter talking about, Tessa shouldn't be able to do this, and other people are like, it should be fine, yada, yada, yada. I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I mean, like, okay, so I actually, because I wanted to get some opinions, I went to my Discord, a couple of wrestling Discords and got some opinions from some friends. Well, not friends, I don't know these people, but, some people that I've met there, who had their opinions and asked if I could use it on the show, and they were, like, down, so, there you go, there's that. But I'm going to put mine out there first, and mine is this. If you let Tessa Blanchard go for your world title, is there anything particularly wrong with that? Um, I don't think so. Really, legit. I've never been big on intergender matches. Um, we'll talk about that in a second, Jay. I've never been big on intergender matches, but it's not necessarily because it's a woman and a man fighting. It's just it doesn't feel like exactly right. Maybe that's my southern home raising and shit like that, and that might be what that is. But I can get past the bullshit there and just look at the match. We're going to get past that for my explanation on why I feel the way I do, which is this: if Tessa's going after the world title, who's going after the women's title? I mean, fuck. Let's think about it. Tessa opens up the door for women to go after the World Heavyweight Championship, and people are like equality, equality. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Women can do what men can do. You're right. They can. But in a wrestling company, in a wrestling federation, in a wrestling business, on a wrestling show, you've got your women's title and you've got your men's title. You've got the Intercontinental Championship. You've got Tag Team Championship. Some even have a television championship. And so, specifically talking about the women's championship and the men's championship, the world championship, if a woman starts going for the world heavyweight title, the women's title becomes useless. It becomes, value's gone. I mean, who's going to go after the women's title? I mean, why is it even here anymore if women don't have to go for it? If they can go for the world title like the rest of the guys can, it's just one big title, one umbrella title for an intergender matches coming up in the future, then the women's title no longer needs to be there. But I feel like I take something away because I brought this up to my wife, who, by the way, is a woman. Who knew? And and I brought this up to her, and she feels like the women's title can still have value because not every woman is going to be able to go after the world title because of their size. Like you've got chicks like Tessa who are thicker, and have got some muscle on them, almost like China, but not quite as big, who can make it believable. But then you got chicks like Riho, from AEW, who's the women's champion, who is great at what she does. But I mean, you can't put her in the fucking ring with Brian Cage. You can't put her in a ring with fucking Luchasaurus, to fight for a world heavyweight championship. But the rebuttal back to that is, I mean, if the women's title has ever been looked down upon in the history of wrestling, not just Impact, but wrestling in general, if the women's title has ever been looked down upon, which it really has, it's not going to do anything but make that situation worse. Even if you keep it around and you're trying to fight for it and stuff, it doesn't do anything but like, okay, well, she's going to have to go after the women's title because, we've got the real women who can wrestle going after the World Heavyweight Championship. So, I feel like it's a bad idea for not just an intergender, type situation, but really it's going to take value away from the company. I just don't see a way of getting around the value being taken away from the women's title. You pretty much honestly have to get rid of it. Maybe not right away, but down the road. I mean, it just wouldn't make any sense to keep it around. Because, yeah, you can still have it there for women to go after, but like I said, they're going to look down on the women who are going after. Why don't you just go for the world title? If you The world title is the goal. It is the goal. It is the top of the pyramid. You're not going to want to stop. Oh, I don't want to go to the top of the pyramid. I want to just hang here because, whatever. I mean, it's different when it's like a light heavyweight title. You can't go get that title because you're in the cruiserweight division. Tag team thinks the same way. You can't get the world title because you're in a tag team. Now women, you can't get the world heavyweight championship because you have to get the women's title. You don't have to do that anymore. Okay, women's title's out the way. You're going for the world title. The women's title doesn't matter anymore. It takes all value from it. I got some quotes from some fans out on Discord. This one comes from the Alexis Experience. They say, personally, I think it makes the world title more prestigious. Literally anyone can earn a shot at it, so the champ must be ready for all comers, as opposed to a division title where you have a rough idea what most of your opponents will be. Where you have a rough idea what most of your opponents will be, yeah. It gives a better impression of whoever holds it by making abundantly clear this champion is above all others. And I mean, that's a solid point. That's a solid point. The Alexis Experience makes a great point there. It does make the title more prestigious in a way. The world title, at least. It does build that. So that is a positive to this, is that, yeah, you would lose the women's championship as far as having any value. But all that value lost, I guess, would go straight to the world title, as it now would stand on one leg as being the top of the mountain in the wrestling company. And I guess they're right. You never really would know who's coming to try and take your strap. So that's a good. Gosh, I'm getting tired. Sorry. Been a long day, man. Been a long day. Oh, man. Another quote here from Shinra on Discord. Tessa's getting special treatment right now, like China did at the moment. She should really be women's champion as well, logically. Most companies are loose on it now and don't refer to their top belt as heavyweight title now anyway, so I don't see what there is to be upset about. And like I said, I'm not really upset about it. And you do make some solid points too. She is sort of getting special treatment, and companies aren't as tight on the heavyweight championship deal as they used to be. But it's still just, like I said, you're taking value away from the women's title, and it needs to be there, I would think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can just take the fucking women's title out the deal altogether and just have them intergenders fight over the fucking world title. Even though Jim Cornette, I know, is having a stroke. We're going to talk about Cornette. Trust me, buddy. I haven't forgotten about you. All right? Woo. But yeah, in closing statements on the Tessa Blanchard thing, I want everybody to know I'm not taking anything away from Tessa. Tessa's a great wrestler. She comes from a great bloodline of wrestlers. She knows what she's doing. She's had some great matches that I've seen. And that Battle Royal I watched. Great fucking match. She's doing some insane fucking things over on Impact in a national fucking market with a lot of eyes looking at her. She is flip-flopping the wrestling world on its ass. So all kudos to her. It's just I guess I'm part of the people that need to be changed. I'm working on it. It's getting used to it. The intergender matches. It just feels wrong watching. And maybe, like I said, it's like a Southern home raising thing. Like, you don't fight a woman. You know what I'm saying? But and it's not because they're weaker. It's just you don't feel like it's right. I see it on TV, and you just don't feel like it's right. But times are changing, and you got to keep up with the times. And I mean, some of these women, hell, they're even more badass than the guys are, and that's a fact. I mean, hell, Tessa's bigger than Marco Stunt. So, there's that. But yeah, I'm actually thinking about trying to watch some more Impact and kind of getting into it a little more. It's been a while since I watched, last time I watched a full episode Impact, Sting and the Main Event Mafia were like the thing back then. It was like Nash and fucking Booker T and all that shit. By the way, NXT finally won ratings war this week with 900